To make all of this zooming and navigating stuff easier on you, Photoshop actually has what's called the Navigator palette, which does exactly as the name would imply. It lets you navigate around, move around inside your image, zoom in and out on your image, and so on. Let's go and take a look at this guy. He's found, of course, underneath the window menu because he is a palette or a panel. So head to your window menu and then look for Navigator. You'll find him just past the halfway point inside the window menu. Now, I think maybe what I'll do just for myself here, just for clarity, is I'll tear this guy away and then collapse down anything else that I have here, just so we can focus on this guy here. Now, what the Navigator panel is going to do is give us this image preview. So this is our full image that we're seeing here. And then you see this red frame in here. That represents what we can currently see inside the Photoshop document window. So as a matter of fact, what we can do is we can take this red frame. Notice that my cursor changes as soon as I move my mouse over top of this red frame. I can actually grab this red frame and begin dragging around inside the Navigator panel. And that, as you can see, is navigating me around inside the main Photoshop document window. The other thing that I can do is I can actually click on a specific area inside the image if I wanted to as well. That's another way to work inside this image preview area inside the Navigator panel. Now we have a few other options inside the panel as well that I want to mention. First of all, notice that we have these two icons here down at the bottom. We have the little mountains and we have the big mountains. What's the difference between the little mountains and the big mountains? Well, the little mountains are going to allow us to zoom out on our image, something like this, right? And the big mountains, as you might guess, allow us to zoom in on our image, something like this. Now notice I don't really have control over where I'm zooming in on my image, unlike using, for example, the zoom tool, the magnifying glass tool. So it's just going to zoom me in on the dead center of the image. Okay, so perhaps a limitation, something to keep in mind for yourself. What else can we do inside the Navigator? Well, we also have this slider between the little mountains and the big mountains, so I can actually drag to zoom in and drag to zoom out. So dragging to the right zooms in, dragging to the left, as you might guess, zooms out. Okay, so there you go. So lots of neat techniques and options that we have available inside the Navigator palette. Last but not least, we have the zoom percentage field down in the bottom left corner of the Navigator panel, which functions and behaves in the exact same way as the zoom percentage field that we have all the way down in the extreme bottom left corner of the Photoshop interface. So using one or the other doesn't really matter. So for instance, maybe I want to zoom to 125%. I can do so using either of the zoom percentage fields, right? Or maybe I want to zoom back to 110%, something like this, right? Whatever you're after there. So there's the Navigator panel. A lot of people love the Navigator panel. They really enjoy using this guy. As a matter of fact, you can even crank out the size of the Navigator panel if you want to have sort of a larger view of your image. That's perfectly fine. I will close out of the Navigator panel and promptly move on to show you some faster zooming and navigation techniques.